Well, vacationers, we hope you've enjoyed your visit to the Walt Disney World Resort and hope that you'll come back to see us again soon. Until next time.
Now it's time to say goodbye to all our company. M-I-C.
See you real soon.
K-E-Y.
Why? Because we like you.
Welcome back to Disney Marvels for a week of March 15th, 2020. This is episode 75. Disney Marvels, the show about Disney, Marvel, Fox, Pixar, the parks, and much, much more. If it has to do with Disney, it's fair game. I'm your host, Matthew Graken. We'll be back after these short messages. And now, on with the show.
Oh, when we have to go away,
It's kind of sad, but then
it's nice to know
it won't be long
till we get to see each other again.
till we meet again.
We're facing a time in history that I don't think the world has seen before. Completely unprecedented. There is no circumstance that comes to my mind that's ever come close to what we're dealing with in the world today. And I could be talking about a certain virus that's going on. I could be talking about the amount of madness, the toilet paper shortage. I'm talking about how there is not one Disney attraction, Disney park open at the moment. The only thing that you can do at Walt Disney World at the moment, and I think this has even changed, is go to the NBA experience. And to be able to discuss this in further depth, I need to bring on someone that has knowledge beyond knowledge, and a former NBA star himself. Isaac Sagu, my good friend, it's been too long. How are you doing? Please tell me you're well. No temperatures.
No. Well, so far I'm doing very, very well. I'm very healthy. So time subject due to change, but at the moment I'm very well. Maybe in another universe I was an NBA player. Maybe a great point guard for maybe for like the New York Knicks right now.
Well, in New York, in another universe where the New York Knicks are good, sure.
Yeah. No offense really go to those teams, but
Oh.
yeah. But at the moment I'm doing really good, Matt. Man, thank you for having me on your show again. As always, love it.
Oh, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. It's been too long. Yeah, so originally we had the parks in Asia shut down, which made sense. You know, okay, things are going kind of crazy in China. Let's close Shanghai. And then a day later you had Hong Kong closed down. Okay. And then shortly after that, Tokyo closed down. All right, understandable. And then consecutively, the ball dropped that you had Disneyland, Walt Disney World, and Disneyland Paris all announced that they'll be shutting down. And then they announced that they're closing all the resort hotels. And the Disney stores and all the malls are closing. Have you ever heard of anything like this?
Honestly, with my 33 years of life living on this earth, I have never participated in anything this big or this not catastrophic, but something that's just so big that's affecting the world. Yeah, it's just it's a different time that we're living in right now. You know, to see so many stores, you know, just as Disney, you know, to shut down the parks, which is something. From what I read, this is nothing they've ever done before. Normally, all their parks would be staying up. So this is a big first for them, even before when they first opened. This is new.
Yeah.
for almost everything, and it goes way beyond. I know within this show we talk about a lot of Disney stuff. This is our magical kingdom bubble that you have wonderfully created, but unfortunately, the outside has now affected that in terms that it's affecting a lot of our entertainment value that we enjoyed, and I've never heard of anything like this, when some of the things like this that you worry about, you do worry about the people that work at these parks, the wonderful people that put on the costumes, the people that prepare the food, that clean up the places, that do everything to create the experience that families come all over the world to enjoy. And you wonder about what's going to happen to those wonderful folks and how they're going to be able to live. So I did hear that Disney parks from all around, I believe all around this in the United States. I don't know much around the world, but I know here in the United States for both Land and Kingdom that they will be compensated. They will be paying a lot of the workers on their time off. As they try to get through this. So if there's that, so that's good. I'm very happy, and that's good that's happening. And yeah, I think that's just a big fan. I mean, I haven't really been to Disney parks in a while, but it really upsetting just to kind of just see that there's just an empty castle at the moment. So yeah,
whether you've been there recently or been there once or maybe never been there, but just the thought that the quote unquote happiest place on earth doesn't have anybody there. I saw a video that someone, a fellow podcaster, put up this morning. He was driving to the Magic Kingdom. Obviously couldn't get to the Magic Kingdom, but he took there's an access road that goes to the hotels to the side, and he was going down that. No cars.
Yeah, wow.
No cars to the side. The Magic Kingdom parking lot completely empty. Buses just parked vacant at the bus terminal. The monorails not running. I mean, just completely empty. It's now I can't say it's never happened before. The parks, not all. Most of the parks have closed at some point before in their history, at least once. The only exception is Shanghai, but it's only been open for not even 4 years yet. But yeah, to think of a place that is twice the size of Manhattan, 45 square miles, bigger than the island of Manhattan, with barely a soul around. It's just unbelievable. Because they're even shutting down the resorts and getting everyone out. But I think to Disney's credit that you have the hard decision to make that obviously you're a company, you're there to make money.
Yes.
And if there's no one coming to your park, you're not making money. And if you're still paying your employees, you're losing money. Yeah. And to do both, to get everyone out of the parks and to still compensate your employees for everyone's health and safety, speaks more volumes about the leadership, about the mindset, about the focus of a company, that they want to make sure everyone is safe, everyone stays healthy, and to kick this, to get this thing, nip this thing in the bud, as it were, and to, just to do the responsible thing. Mm-hmm. And not the profitable thing. I saw things online saying, oh, well, your stores are still open, or this is, you're still doing this. In time, they took care of everything. They do one thing at a time. You can't put, completely throw on the emergency brake and expect it all to just stop and, just kind of smoothly go down. You have to take the steps and keep reevaluating the situation and make sure you take the responsible steps. Again, also just that you can't just panic. It's very easy to do in this situation. But yeah, I can't say that there's never been a point in history that all, however many, in this case, there's the 5 resort areas. I'll bundle it that way because there's more than 5 parks, but the 5 resort areas had shut down simultaneously. I think the closest we ever got to having multiple parks closed or multiple resorts closed was September 11th, when both Disney World and Disneyland closed for a period of time. Beyond that, Paris stayed open then. Tokyo stayed open then. Hong Kong wasn't around yet, neither was Shanghai. So it is completely unprecedented. It is astounding. It just really leaves me, for lack of words, and it does bring up some concerns long term, in my mind. But at the same time, I am happy that they're doing this. I think it is the right decision.
Yeah, and I agree. I think you took the words out of my mouth. I think it's the right decision for them to do. Again, it's a different time in world history we're living in right now, to have something this big as the COVID-19 to kind of just affect so many lives, and so many lives lost in such a very brief moment of time. It's very traumatic, and it's good that not just companies like Disney, but other major big companies too, all around the world, are at least stepping up to at least try to take care of their employees for the short-term future. The fear is if this virus continues to do the things that it's doing, and keeping people work, is a big concern fear. But for the immediate right now, for Disney to kind of just say, hey, we're going to lose a lot of money here, and being shut down, but it's the responsible human thing to do, is to try to take care of everybody around us, and just kind of have to duck down and just kind of weather the storm, and hopefully we can weather the storm soon, as long as people just kind of sit down and listen and follow the directions from right now the smartest people in the room. That's your healthcare providers and your scientists right now that are trying to figure this out. So yeah, it's a rough period, but it's at the moment all we can sit down and do is just kind of wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, we too shall prevail. The life will continue. Things will progress. Things will move forward. To quote Churchill, there will always be a Disney World or Disneyland. But it's bizarre in the moment that everyone's life is being affected so greatly by something so microscopic that you can't see. So one of the smallest sentient things, I guess you could call it sentient. I mean, it's a living creature. Smallest living things in the known world is affecting the entire world so greatly that it's put a stop to everything, which almost never happens, or really has ever happened. Not that I could account for. I mean, I comprised the list of when have the parks closed before, and strangely enough, Disney World's closed the most. It took the longest, but it is closed the most of any of the parks. Disneyland, the first time it closed was, it opened July 17th, 1955. First day it closed was the National Day of Mourning after President John F. Kennedy's assassination in 1963. So that's 7 years off the top of my head. 8 years? 7, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 years since its opening. Questionable if it closed. It's really weird. When I was doing my research, it either did or it didn't close after the Northridge earthquake in 1994. Some reports say the entire park closed and did not admit any guests. Another report says they may guess the attractions were closed, but they opened up slowly throughout the day after they were inspected to make sure that they were still safe and sound.
Yeah. Wow.
And then obviously, like I said, just in 9/11. So 2, maybe 3 times in past, Disneyland has closed. And most of those times it was, again, for a day or two. It wasn't anything extended.
Yeah.
Disneyland Paris, I'll skip over Walt Disney World, which opened in April 12th, 1992, closed November 4th through the 17th. So you did have multiple days there. That was in 2015 after France's National Day of Mourning following the Paris attacks in 2015. But that was it. That's the only time they've ever closed.
Yeah.
In 28 years. Tokyo Disney, that opened April 15th, 1983. First time they closed was March 11th, 2011. They closed early that day because of an offshore earthquake. Didn't reopen. Disneyland didn't open till April 15th, the Magic Kingdom Park. The Seas, Tokyo Disney Seas, didn't open till the 28th of that April. So that's an extended, that's a longer length of period of time. They closed this year on February 28th. And yeah, at this point, they will reopen at some point, possibly in April. We'll have to see how things develop in Tokyo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they've only closed once. Hong Kong Disneyland opened September 12th, 2005, and January 26th this year was the first time they've ever closed.
Oh wow, jeez.
Shanghai Disneyland opened June 16th, 2016, and January 25th was the first time they've ever closed that park.
Wow.
And then Walt Disney World, first time they ever closed, they opened October 1st, 1971. 28 years later, on September of 1999 for Hurricane Floyd was the first time they ever closed their doors. 2004, they closed 3 times for Hurricanes Charlie, Francis, and Janine. And 2016 for Hurricane Matthew. 2017, Irma. I think those times they might have, as the hurricanes took a different path, 2019, they closed for Hurricane Dorian. Park closed early, but opened the next day. The 20th, opened the next day because Irma missed them. September 11th, obviously, they closed for that. And then March 20th. Whatever. No, today. Whatever today's date is. March the 16th. 16th, the parks closed. March 20th, all resorts will be closed and emptied.
Wow. That's insane.
It's, like I said, at no point except for September 11th, you had Disneyland and Disney World closed. No point did you have every single park that was open, every single resort that was open, close at the same time.
Jesus, wow. That's insane. That is incredible. Again, different times, man. Different times. Very unprecedented.
Again, it is needed, but it's such a weird thought that lingers in the back of your mind that there is no one at those parks, at any of them around the world.
Yeah.
No one's going to a castle. No one is riding It's a Small World, or going on Space Mountain or one of the Haunted Mansion, Phantom Manor. No one's standing in line to get their picture with Mickey.
It's insane, man. It's insane, but like you said, man, it needs to be done right now. The thing is, and here's the biggest issue too. We don't know exactly right now. It's kind of like everybody's hoping by the end of this month, or maybe leading a little bit into April, that this virus should succeed, and again, because this is something new, we don't know when this thing is going to be going away. Like you said, there's no vaccine yet. There's nothing to really treat it at the moment to be able to slow it down. So the only thing that we can do, the only logical thing we can prevent ourselves is, like you said, we have to self-quarantine ourselves and limit our the new word social distancing. That's going to be a very popular word when we go right next to two-ply and quarantine. This is going to be weird when a game show host hosts it 10 years down the road, and these are the questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's right now. This is kind of this is like our kind of self-medication right now, and we have to do our part and not be able to kind of be around each other so we can help slow this thing down or flatten the curve, as a lot of the experts said.
That's the new keyword. Yeah, I'm part of Gen X. Social distancing, that's our thing. We're all down for that. We're not on into the hanging out. We want our distance. This is our our thing. We're good with this. Finally, the world seeing it as
I guess I'm in the millennial area, but like,
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, I'm at like an age that I don't want to be around a lot of people after I come straight from work, so I'm right there with you though. But
we have to be there for people by not being there for people.
That's the way you have to look at it. So, yeah, so it's good for people out there. To be able to put on Disney Plus and be able to check out the really cool things, because due to Disney Plus, they end up pushing Frozen 2 earlier than they would hope, just for a little treat for people that had to stay home. So I think that was great on Disney's part that they were able to open up and do that. But they
did that. They also moved up the release of Rise of Skywalker's digital copy. They moved that up several days as well, just to give people some sort of entertainment to experience. And I know a lot of people were saying to me on social media, this weekend they were all watching Frozen 2 and getting down with that. And they, it just goes to show you that I don't want to call it a gift, but that you could say
it's a bit of a gift.
It
was their part to do that for fans that they knew that they're going to have families and to be able to sit down and stuff like that. I think it was a good, again, you could say it's a business move, and sure it is, but I think, like I said, for kids that are big fans of Frozen, now I've never watched either 1 or 2, but yeah, it's a very popular film in Disney's a library of films, and I think it was a great move to do that, and for the last Star Wars 9 film, the last Skywalker, to be available along with Black Panther. I think it was a good move.
Yeah.
But I think an issue, because now we are talking, since we moved from parks into a little bit on the entertainment side, you do have to worry about the shutdowns, because again, I'm a big movie dude, and you have to worry about what it's done to the box office in terms of movies like Onward. That's a movie, it's a Pixar film that you would have known that would have done well, but because of this outbreak, it's really hurt the box office sales of this film. I think it only brought in 60 million at the moment in the box office, as reported. That could have changed at the moment, but it's been I think it's brought in it's made around 62 million from in total. They only brought in 10 million for the second weekend, which has now been recorded as the lowest box office recording in history right now because of the virus. And on top of that, you also saw pushbacks of Mulan, which is a movie I believe was supposed to come out either this week or next following week. And now that movie's been pushed back indefinitely because they don't know exactly what they want to do with that film.
I believe it was supposed to come out this weekend. And they kind of held off. They actually, I think, did have the premiere of that in Hollywood. And they were going forward, but they pulled that back after. I think Sony pulled back James Bond. Then Disney did that with Mulan. They're still pushing forward with
Right, Black Widow's the only one that they're pushing forward with at this foreseeable future.
Because that is May.
That'll
That's
be
a May, well, both their May releases, Artemis Fowl and Black Widow. They're still pushing forward with at this time.
yeah.
That being said, they have also halted. Make sure I choose my words carefully. Halted production of Falcon and Winter Soldier
Right. And Loki.
and Loki and
I think Spider-Man got a hold. No, Spider-Man never started. That was supposed to
that
start.
hasn't started yet. No, there was.
But
There
you
was
can also say, but you could say that it's been suspended too, because right now there's nobody working in Hollywood at the moment.
yeah, pretty much Hollywood's come to a standstill. There was another movie, and it slipped my mind on which one it was, but a lot of productions and stuff have been put on hold because of what's going on. So that's going to have ramifications in the long game. We're not even talking just the immediate future with got some of the animated stuff going on, but I'm sure they're limiting people in the studios to do this stuff. A lot of this stuff is also done over in Asia, so that's going to be affecting that. Oh, Shang-Chi, that one also got paused.
That got paused. Yep.
Yeah, they halted production on Shang-Chi. I knew there was another one. So
all Disney films are shut down.
What is that going to do with release dates? I mean, what is that going to, how is that going to...
And this is the worry thing about that too, because right now you're talking about pushing, and this is not just the Disney films. These are all the films that were originally supposed to come out. You fear that a lot of films are going to end up being pushed back into that very crowded fourth quarter. Now, we're all just assuming that this is all going to disappear within the next couple of months. We don't know exactly how long we're going to be in it for the long haul. We're all hoping right now. Again, let's all keep that in mind.
Fingers crossed.
We're all I think we will. We just don't know how long. And that's the biggest concern, because like you said, a lot of these films will get pushed back. We don't know when they're going to release Mulan. We don't know when they're going to release Artemis Fowl. Although I have to admit, I never really had faith in that film, to be honest. I didn't think the movie was going to do great to begin with.
It got pushed back twice.
It got pushed back twice, yeah. Here's another big film that just seems to never catch a break. That's under that's under Disney's.
I know which one you're going to say.
New Mutants.
Yep, New Mutants.
That movie cannot catch a break, right?
That got pushed back as well.
Got pushed back as well. It was supposed to release next month in April, and now unforeseen indefinitely. I think that's a movie that should have been released on either Hulu or one of the streaming services at this point. But that's just me to say. I mean, I still want to go see that movie in theaters. But then you go and on top of that it's going to be very interesting. Mulan, again, I think it was a movie I was going to go see. That's a movie that really kind of they were trying to cater to a lot more of a Chinese audience than an American one. And now the fact that they don't have either market to show this film, I mean, on top of the money they spend on marketing these films, it doesn't help right now. Yes. Yeah, so at this point, it's just Black Widow, and everybody just hopes and assumes that the numbers will go down, hopefully enough that it will reside and get things back and open. But then
it will have corrected itself by then, and life goes back to
semi-normal.
Yeah, whatever normal will be after all this. Yeah. I mean, and it goes beyond the movies even. ESPN, a company that sole purpose is sports news.
What are they going to talk about?
Fortunately, the NFL is still giving them some stuff to talk about, but, they're talking about the lack of talking about stuff and kind of what's going on. It's interesting. I was listening to Golic and Wingo this morning, and they broadcast... They simulcast on ESPN2 as well as broadcasting on the radio, and they're in the same studio, but not today. They were recording remotely like we are doing now. So there was no ESPN2 simulcast of people in a studio sitting around a desk talking to each other. You just had the ESPN logo and hear the voices. So basically radio. And
Wow.
yeah, it's just quite bizarre. It's, and you just have all of them wondering, okay, what's next for us? Because, and just like everybody else, how long are we going to be able to keep this going, not knowing, how long we have to do this and what is next?
Yeah.
And then one step further, as much as I just praised the parks for closing everything down, you have a lot of things writing on what's happening in the parks over the next few months. Disney World's 50th is months away at this point. October 1st, 2021. So, a little over, 18 months, whatever it is at this point. And there's a lot of things that they promise us that will be coming, that they're going to be putting in this ride and this attraction and redoing this. They were in the middle of repainting the castle and getting that ready.
That's take a backseat now.
Not just that, what is going to be pulled out of that off the table? Because there's been times before when the economy, after 9/11, the economy tanked and people stopped traveling, that they were going to be, right before that, they had announced all this expansion and stuff that they were going to be redoing to the parks and putting in attractions and whatnot. And a lot of that disappeared.
No, you're right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, obviously some things already started or in the process. You can't get that away. You can't take away Tron. You can't take away the Guardians so much. Mary Poppins, they never started on. Then that's one of the ones a lot of people are wondering, will that kind of disappear again?
It's going to take sorry to interject.
No, go.
It really does seem like it's going to take and this is the issue with how long we're going to have to be in quarantine. I feel like how long you're going to be in a quarantine, you could probably like double or quadruple the time it takes, quote unquote, for, I guess, consumers to feel comfortable to come back to these parks, to go to these movie theaters again, to watch these films. Because again, because even say this all resides within a couple of months, and depending where the economy is at that point, we could be in a recession in the next. I really don't want to get into too real into your podcast. I know it's in the.
That's right.
But
this one's a little more of a realistic one, than the past. But this keeps it in.
Yeah. It's.
You will have some people that just go out there.
Yeah.
Just that finally it's over. I could go back to my movie. I could go back to my theme parks. I could go back to life. Then you got other people that, like I personally.
Because not everybody's going to go into those parks just like that once everything opens. This could be a gradual effect that even lasts longer than the outbreak, the pandemic itself, and that's why you have to kind of think about it in those terms, in terms of people building consumer confidence of travel and going back to watching these films. So every industry is going to take a while to recover the longer this continues. And
usually it's the entertainment the entertainment usually comes back quicker because that's what people gravitate to kind of reset their lives and get back to normal. Travel, though, sometimes is the harder one for people to get back to.
That's the thing Disney, especially the Disney parks, bank on the most. There's a lot of people from different parts of the country, let alone the world, that come to visit these parks. And like you said, it comes to consumer confidence. Just like you said, what happened after the events of 9/11, how it took a long time for the plane industry to kind of get its grounding again after that event.
I've only flown twice since then.
Yeah, well, I've only flown now. I've only flown twice, and this was only 2 years ago. So
last year was the second time.
Yeah, I'm very leaning to flying around, but these are the things that I know that each company that Disney is thinking. And a guy and especially a person like me who's a big movie buff, how long does it take the people to come back into the movie and to go see these theaters, especially maybe even smaller ones that are not banked on like the AMCs or the Regals of the world. You really feel that they can't survive. They may not be able to survive going through this, and they could be out of business in the next couple of weeks. So
there's still a few like mom and pop theaters that are around there that are not big corporate ones that
they don't.
They're not ready to stay shut for weeks. No one show up.
And I don't blame them if they're trying their hardest. I don't even blame even bigger companies that are also trying their hardest to just try to see if there's anything we can do just to keep our doors open. If we can, we'll like they'll do everything. They'll abide by what the CDC and what the governments are trying to tell them, as long as they can just keep their doors open to attract people at the moment.
Yeah. The other day I drove by the theater, and there was maybe 4 cars. I'm sure that was the 4 people working there.
Yep.
And it was sad. I mean, I wanted to so much just okay, let me park here and catch a film. I'll have the whole theater to myself. But at the same time, I was trying to get paper towels.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat too. I was like, I wanted to go see the movie theater. I wanted to try to catch one of the Onward was one of the films that I wanted to go and watch this weekend.
It got such great reviews. I'm so excited for that movie. And now, it's one thing if I don't get to it. Yeah. It's another thing if circumstances outside of my house prevent me from going to see it.
Yeah,
it just makes it that much more frustrating.
It's sad because you don't want to. Because again, like what this unfortunately this thing does is like you don't know if you could end up being the big cause. You could end up being a carrier and not know it. So you don't want to be responsible of spreading this thing that could affect others, which is a tough decision because you don't want you want to help, you want to go and support these areas, but you also don't want to affect people's lives. It's a tough situation to be in. It's both evils at the moment, and it's going to hurt things. Matt, I want to ask you a question in terms of the film part. So it's unfortunate that Onward didn't do the way that I think everybody thought it would. What do you think in terms of Disney would be a smart? Do you think it would be? I'm going to give you 2 options. You can only choose one. If you had the choice, do you think one you bring it over to your Disney Plus platform, and instead of getting it out, you bring it to there maybe a month earlier? Now I know there's contractual things about it. Or 2, you pull the movie out of theaters. You pull the film out of theaters, and then you try to do a re-release down the road once everything calms down. If you only had 2 of those choices, what would you choose?
The re-release,
make a grand big entrance once everything comes down. Hey, we're gonna come back and we're gonna release Onward, and we're gonna re-release this as a big triumphant event. Or do you go straight to Disney Plus at the moment?
The one that makes sense is the Disney Plus, but the better option is going to be the re-release in the long run.
Yeah.
And let me explain why. I mean, granted, yes, you do have to pay. You're going to have to put more into the marketing because you have to remarket the movie.
That's true.
But with everything else that's now on hold, your release schedule is now completely unchained.
Yeah.
So you have to fill in the void that you lost in production time from the other movies. So Winter Soldier and Falcon are Disney Plus, but
Plus, it was supposed to release in August, and we don't now. You would have to assume that it has to be pushed indefinitely back in terms of a
and
release.
most of the stuff that's coming out within the next 5 to 6 months is relatively done shooting for the most part. But you can shift that back to fill in the void for the upcoming gap that you would have next year, right? Because Shang-Chi, I think, was for next year, and shows numerous other movies that they haven't said that that they've halted. Like even the Mission Impossible movies, I guess that's Paramount, but those movies have been halted, and those were supposed to start coming out next year, and that's next year and the year after that. They're filming 2 movies back to back. So you have the 2 options. You can either speed up the production time, which you may not get the product that you want, but you can try and force things to come out still within a reasonable time frame. Or, like I said, you build yourself in a buffer and pull onward from the shelves early. No one's going to see it anyway. So whether you pull from the shelf or not, no one's seeing it right now. And then, say come November, you push back some of those releases there and re-release Onward then. And hope to kind of drum up the Oscar buzz and a whole bunch of other things. So yeah, you got. I think that kind of, even though it's the more complicated way, is probably the more beneficial to most parties. So I mean, it's a hard. That's really a tough one. I mean, like I said, the easy answer, and I've read this on a number of financial things, is to go straight to the Disney Plus. There's Mulan. They said it's a little too late for that, but New Mutants, go ahead, put it right to Disney Plus. At this point, how many times that thing's gotten pushed back and whatever else is going on with it.
That's
which is sad because I'm actually excited to see that. I like the grit of it. I like the feel. It's a little more uncertain. It's not as clean as the X-Men movies had been. I like the characters. Those are characters that I enjoyed from the comics. So to see them on the screen,
Matt, we were going to get Demon Bear, man.
Yeah,
we were going to get Demon Bear. They were going to go the Chris Claremont way with that storyline, man. We're getting Demon Bear, dude, which would have been totally amazing. Granted, those
Cannonball and
the Wolfsbane and Cannonball and the Scout. I think was I forgot what movie was the sword?
Shatterstar, but he was in Deadpool. I don't. Was he in this one?
Oh wow! Let me look up the characters of the New Mutants. She's on like the tip of my. Magic. Yeah, we're supposed to get the man. We're supposed to.
Magic. Yes. Oh, she's a big character.
She's a huge big character. She's the daughter. She's the sister of Colossus. She's Colossus' sister. Was that dude? Was the sword and everything? Like it was supposed to be really big and stuff like that. So yeah, man. Yeah, I really think that it's gonna really sit down and affect the issue of what's happening with mutants at the moment. Like it's big. I really do feel bad for the New Mutants film, which again, but at the same time, I'm not against them. Maybe we'll release it on Hulu because that is their sister streaming company at the moment, since they own a big chunk of the film. But yeah, man, it's just kind of sad to see this film now kind of be delayed for its third, fourth time again. Let me sit down and see Wow. Hold on. I just wanted to see when this film was going to be re-released. Production music, sequels, plan, release. Yeah, this is unfortunately. Yeah, this looks like this has been its like third. It's been its third re-release, man, in a quarter of 3 years, around 3 to 4 years of New Mutants. So, yeah, it's just such a it's a top break for this film. It really is. It's a top break for this film. But I would still love to go see it, man. Even with the edits and the cuts and everything about that film, I still want to go see it. So.
I will always support my X-Men in one way or another. And like I said, the first time I saw this trailer before they pulled it for whatever time that was, I went, "Wow, this is not what I was expecting."
No.
Yeah, reshoots and whatnot, of course, and changing studios. So the poor movie's gotten beaten up so much. Just let us see it finally.
I know, but unfortunately, this is not of any fault of its own. You know.
No.
No. Another thing, what would you do with Mulan in the whole situation too? Because it seems like that's gone really dark and quiet too. Again, like you don't have the Chinese audience. Again, this is a movie that you're supposed to be built towards. It's not a movie that I've heard that it was estimated to make around maybe 90 million when it was supposed to originally come out in the box office though. But that was just domestic with maybe a little bit of help from Europe and other countries outside of China, though. I mean, what do you do with that? I guess, do you go the same route as would you, I mean, again, the movie didn't come out, but a lot of marketing was thrown towards that movie. I expect even towards the Chinese audience. So what do you do there at that point? You know, that's a lot of things that have to be discussed, man.
Summer release. That's
It was a crowded release schedule because that's another thing. Yeah, I fear.
Yeah.
I mean, do they have? Is there any Disney movies? Well, I mean, is there like any real Disney movies coming out in the fall? I assume they have something lined up for the fall. I can't think of anything else.
They do. My mind escapes me at the moment. Last one I know that's coming out is Soul, and that's in June. What is after that?
Oh, wow, yeah. Wow. So yeah.
They do have stuff. Oh my goodness, what is it? See if I can pull up the list. Top rated movie shows. On IMDb, don't fail me now. Awards and events. Yeah, I don't remember it offhand. I know Soul is coming out. That's June. What is after that?
Oh yeah. So under the Disney's label, basically after, like, it was supposed to be Mulan, then New Mutants, and Black Widow. Then I think there's a movie called The Woman in the Window. I've never even heard of that. Apparently that's under Disney. Maybe you've heard of that. It's supposed to be a drama. Then Artemis Fowl, which I have no faith in that. Soul, which is a Jamie Foxx, Timothée film.
I love that. Jungle Cruise. Yes, that looks fantastic.
And
that's the big July release.
That was the big July release. What's her name? Wow. I was even talking about her name so much too. The cast of Jungle. She's eluded me. Who's the cast of Jungle Cruise?
Yes,
it's. I don't want to disrespect for not mentioning her name. Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt. That's what she's. Fine actress herself. And then The King's Men was, I think, the one and the only Ivan, never heard of. Again, this is a film I've never even heard of. Apparently, it's a fantasy drama from under, Walt Disney Studios. That's a movie I never heard of. And then The King's Man, which was under Fox. Mm-hmm. That's supposed to come out somewhere in September. So, between all that, like, where does that? Where would you even put Mulan in any of that because again it becomes a situation. I think this is where where them buying out everything kind of hurts them in this situation.
And that's kind of what I said initially with the Fox thing is that now you got all these studios vying for limited release schedule. I mean, May 8th, you got The Personal History of David Copperfield. Yeah. But that's a Searchlight product. That does that have to come out then?
Internal. Apparently, it wasn't. I'm reading was it Eternals was supposed to come out?
Yes, Eternals is also this year.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Where do you fit? So it sounds like
November.
Could Mulan end up going? Could Mulan end up pulling a Fast 9 and just maybe releasing next year then?
That's another option. I mean, at this point it was already pushed back a year.
Mulan.
That was more, but that was more on production end. It was taking longer, and they reshuffled the schedule and pushed Mulan back, and they moved. Was it The Lion King or Aladdin that they moved forward? But they moved one of those other ones. The Empty Man. There's another one that you could probably.
Oh, jeez.
There's options, but
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're really playing with a lot of different things there. Yeah, I don't know. Where would you put it to do it justice? I mean, you don't. Yeah, November 6th, the Eternals. You don't want to stick it October 23rd. Switch out with everybody talks about Jamie, because honestly, that movie is not an late October release. Put it up against the horror flicks, something for Halloween, that it doesn't go there.
No. Wow. It sounds like Mulan may have to end up being pushed back a year just because again, like in terms of Disney's plate right now, it is kind of booked, and we're only going based on how long this virus goes. This thing can even push into May, and that can even affect Black Widow. Now you're really in bigger trouble if Black Widow has to get pushed back. Now that messes everything. If you talk about things not being messed up as it is, if this thing continues and pushes Black Widow back, I don't know how do you reshuffle the deck on that?
I think that one's actually a little bit easier. I would say that's when they would trump Artemis Fowl again.
Yeah.
A movie that's already been pushed back at least once. And give it the Memorial Day weekend, because that would be your Memorial Day
weekend movie.
Token movie.
I think that would make sense, and then you probably would make more on the Memorial Day release versus. Yeah, I could see that, and then maybe you could push Artemis Fowl in October release or something like that. I mean, it has to do with fairy tales and stuff like that. I think that would make sense with like the Halloween schedule, stuff like that.
You throw that further back in the year, or again, that one could wait yet another year. You only just started marketing that one, and it's already waited, like I said, at least a year.
Yeah.
So obviously they feel that it wasn't. It's not as high on their priority list as some of the other ones. They still feel strong enough to give it a late May release. So they obviously think it's going to pull in some numbers, but you're talking between you're talking Black Widow and that. I think Black Widow all the way. That is their the one that they really got their hopes up on. And rightfully so. The more I see of it, the better it looks.
I guess you could say that, because like at that same time, it may be a little dangerous, because like, if you push it back to the Artemis Fowl, I agree. Our Artemis Fowl might not be their big movie, but at the same time, it is rubbing against Pixar's Soul, and then from Soul you're jumping into Jungle Cruise, and I think those are the two big movies that I think Disney are really looking to bring in a lot more of the money. So again, it's a little weird because then you're kind of afraid of those three. You have three big movies kind of all almost together. I understand that the audiences are a little different, but those are big three movies that if you were Disney, you would want those a little bit spread out.
Yeah. Disney's been giving themselves a 2-week window between movies.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the release schedule, and that's generally the lifespan that they're banking on, is 2 weeks between productions, because you got Artemis Fowl 2 weeks later, roughly is Soul 2 weeks after that. Maybe is that 3 weeks, whatever. Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Free Guy. Oh,
2 weeks after that, Jungle Cruise.
Oof.
Now, granted, it is kind of flopping on the demographics of who the target audience is. But yeah, it comes down to a 2-week window. So every 2 weeks is a new release by them.
Yeah, I think Disney. Oh God.
So they could play with it. You got Kerry Russell's Antlers coming out on the 20th.
A lot of films may look like they may have to be bounced into the 2021 just because. Although I do think, like you said, because 2 weeks, that's 2 weeks doesn't seem like a whole lot of time to let these movies breathe in the box office run, because knowing that another big movie's coming, right around the bend,
Yeah.
I feel like, Disney really wants to try to make their money off a lot of these things. I think a couple of these movies may be a victim of the 2021 release. And if that were the case, like I said, I agree, Mulan might have to join that. Artemis Fowl might end up being pushed right back again because, like you said, due to market constraints. And then maybe you end up pushing maybe the Kingsman if you believe in that because of internals and stuff like that. I could see them moving them to lead off their 21 campaign if that were to happen. And then Be Strong was Black Widow, a Soul, Jungle Cruise, and then maybe like Ivan the Only, and just kind of ride that out too.
Yeah, but some of that's just so delicately balanced already. I mean, you have the February release for Shang-Chi. And then shortly after that, May for Doctor Strange, and I think they actually moved Doctor Strange, didn't they? Or is that the new date?
I think that's the new date, because originally I think it was supposed to come out this year in November. I think it was supposed to come. Wait, unless
it was always next year.
It was always next year. Okay, never mind. Because what's the television show? WandaVision has to come out. WandaVision
hasn't come out, and they moved that up, quote unquote, this year. It's like the last day of the year. But yeah, I mean, you got Indiana Jones, baby. I don't mean to laugh. I love Indiana Jones. Indiana 5 is supposed to come out July of next year. And they were supposed to start production, I think, this week. Again, not happening. I mean, talk about another ill-fated movie.
Yeah.
Then the next Spider-Man is supposedly next year.
Production was supposed to start in July, man.
Yeah.
That's not to say they can't start it. It's just where were you? I mean, again, if they beat it, then it's not a big deal. For if the virus is done before then, it's made its rounds. It's not a big deal. They could still meet that date, but it's like right now, it's this moment where. It's funny how these two big movies like Mulan, unfortunately not New Mutants, but like Mulan, kind of, where do you put Mulan in all of that, in everyone that's kind of being the issue right now. I think again, like if the virus passes, I don't think it's a big deal with Mulan. I think you can comfortably figure out where you need to move it. It's just if Mulan and Black Widow that get pushed back, then it kind of is like, where do we? Now we're in a little bit of weird territory at the moment, and where do we place these films and stuff like that? It changes the entire deck completely if Black Widow gets pushed back. And I think that's why Disney is like really holding up that this virus this thing passes quickly before we even get to that point. So
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, it's a global effect because it's the movies, the parks. When can we get things? We were about to kick off this big anniversary for Walt Disney World. Well,
yeah,
now this is getting held back.
like you said,
Not that I'm trying to sound mean, but I wouldn't be surprised that as much as they were trying to get away from free dining promotions and whatnot, I wouldn't be surprised that once we know things have moved forward,
yeah,
you start seeing a lot of heavy promotions coming out for the parks
yeah,
to get those people to come back. Getting back to what you're saying, when do people start feeling comfortable? Well, once the price is right. And how do you do that? Free dining, discount rooms, etc. And I think you will see a lot of that, not just at Disney. Cruise lines and the travel industry in general is going to be so hurting for business that it's going to have to take those baby steps to get back to kind of where it was, or even remotely close to where it was.
Yeah. No, you're right. I especially with the cruise line industry, which like after an event like this, I don't know if you would. Yeah. Oof. The ship line business is going to definitely be reeling after this event.
I mean, they've been enjoying a good long run for a while, but they were always kind of that litmus test that, if the cruise line industry is being affected, then then something else is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it is just kind of one of those funky things.
Because I do believe like the plane line, even though the plane line industry is suffering too because of this, I think that's going to bounce back a little bit faster because of business, and business is needed for these two things to travel. But I think in terms of the air cruise line business and then how it's affected
that's just pure luxury. That's just airline business. Yeah, that's going to get going because people need to travel for business, for transportation, for whatever. Sports, that will bounce back pretty quickly. If anything, that's probably going to be the quickest thing to bounce back.
Yeah.
The parks, it'll crawl, but it'll get going. Movies, I think, will bounce back relatively quickly. It's just a matter of it's a numbers game, really, when it comes down to the confidentiality. How much confidence the studio has in a film will depend on whether it sticks around, it gets replaced by something else, it gets bumped, it goes straight to a streaming service that most of the studios have now. NBC's even streaming service got pushed back because of this, which is fine by me. I mean that's really kind of more of just it's more of a numbers game as far as the movies go. It really comes down to the parks and the cruise lines. Disney announced that they have more ships in the works that are being built. This deal's being cut and put together. But you build a ship in one economy to launch it in another.
Yep.
So we shall see. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, there is no roadmap for this. There is, as my boss keeps on saying, this is uncharted territory, and it truly is. To have the entire world come to a standstill because of one of the smallest things on this planet.
Yep. This virus told everybody to go to the room for a while. It told everybody to go. So yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting couple of months, man. Let's pray and hope that we're on the good end of it and we're not in it too long. Mostly for the sake of people going back to work, and for people that live paycheck to paycheck. That's my biggest concern, that everybody gets back to work.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
So you have anything else you want to bring up here?
No, man. I think that's all we can really talk about again. We all, again, like I said, I'm going to be self-quarantining myself. Doing a
Hunker
little
it down. You got your zombie apocalypse kit going there, I see.
distancing from everybody around until then. This is probably how we're going to be communicating for now on.
Hey, you mentioned Disney Plus. Keep in mind, you have 29 years worth of The Simpsons that you can catch up with on Disney Plus right now.
That's very true. You know what? I may have to actually. This would be a great time to catch up on the Mandalorian. Here's a story. I haven't finished watching the Mandalorian yet because I've been distracted.
Isaac.
I know. I should have revealed that to the public, but now that I'm in quarantine, this is my perfect time to catch up before season 2.
The most talked about show in the history of television.
I've been working, man. I've been very, very busy, but now that
Child is disappointed in you, Isaac.
I can catch up. I will catch up and finish this. It's dude, listen, I got like a long wave. There's so many television shows that I have listed, and I watched it, and it is like I failed off of it, but now I'm gonna get back onto it before season 2 starts. And Clone Wars, I want to also finish Clone Wars.
Oh yes, yeah. I've been hearing some really good stuff off of that.
Oh, so forward to that, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for, first of all, for suggesting this, and second of all, for coming onto the show yet again. Like I said, it's been too long. We have to correct that, which we did. We had you on, and we'll have to have you on again, as always. Anything you're working on? I know you had some stuff that you were working on last time that you didn't want to talk about. Are you ready to talk about that yet, or?
It's still a work in progress, but
It's still a work in progress,
but I will make an announcement. I'm going to definitely make an announcement soon. Now that things probably, maybe now once things kind of die down, I'll definitely make an announcement soon. But you will hear something very, very soon. It's a podcast that I am working on, and then I want to try to get back up again. So I'm definitely doing that.
Look forward to it. Definitely look forward to it. Isaac, thank you again. Thank you so much. And we will be talking to you soon.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. I'd like to thank Isaac again for joining us. My special guest, Isaac. Always fantastic having him on the show. Join our conversation. Be part of it. I want to know what you think. What do you think? The park's closing. How does that affect you? How do you feel? Are you sad? Are you glad that they're doing this? Let us know. Shout it out. And also, what is your idea of the future going forward for the company? As far as the movie releases, any of the stuff that we've talked about, the movie releases, the Disney, how it affects Disney Plus, how it affects just kind of everything. Let us know on the Facebook, facebook.com/Disney Marvels Podcast, or our Facebook group, which is also the Disney Marvels Podcast group, facebook.com/groups/Disney Marvels Podcast. Or join us on the Twitter @Disney Marvels. You can also email the show with your suggestions to disneymarvels@gmail.com if you have any suggestions for topics, ideas, or you just need to vent a little bit, say hi. You can also leave a voice message through the Anchor app or the Anchor website. I'd love to get some voice messages from you guys. If you want, I could even put them on the show. Just, you have to send them to me. I want to thank you also for your time. I know how crazy everything is nowadays, and how, despite a lot of people being home, how little or less time you have than you normally do. And the fact that you've taken some of that and spent it with me and with us means a lot. If you could just do one more thing, if you can leave a rating to the show, go to iTunes, leave a rating. It helps out, gets people to listen to the show. Can't do that, then just tell people about the show. The more people that we get listening to the show, the bigger the family. The bigger the family, the better. Walt has always believed that, and I believe it too. Don't forget to subscribe to the show while you're there, while you're on whatever your favorite listening method is, so this way you always know when I post a new episode. And while you're at it, also consider becoming a premium subscriber to help the show out, you can do this over at anchor.fm/DisneyMarvels/support. Again, that's anchor.fm/DisneyMarvels/support. Or you can find our Patreon page, and you can support there. You get some nice little gifts too in return. The links are in the show notes, as well as the social media connections are also, the links are in the show notes. So remember, this show is brought to you by listeners like you. Whatever you're facing out there, no matter how difficult, especially nowadays, my goodness, how crazy everything is out there. You can't buy toilet paper, you can't buy paper towels. Pasta is on a shortage. It goes beyond saying, but don't give up on yourself. Don't let the pressures out there, the negativity, the disbelief get to you. We will get through this. Everyone will get through this. You will get through this. I know you will. Believe in yourself. Believe in your strength. There is a light inside of you that you can grab hold of. It may be hard to find. It may be really deep in there, behind a few things. Grab a hold of that light. Don't let go. Because that light will shine and will show everybody how strong and beautiful you are. And you too will get this. Be your own superhero. Never give up or give in. And I'd like to end this show with a quote from Walt Disney himself. In bad times and good, I have never lost my sense or zest for life. I know I've used that one before, but I just thought it was appropriate for everything going on. Thank you again for listening, and I'll see you next time.